Vision. End the fear. I have chosen a stand that will likely engage me the rest of my life. It isn't simply end the fear, but that is certainly a part of it. For 40 years now, I have naturally engaged whenever people espouse what I consider to be unbalanced or unfair positions. I may be a slow learner, but in my terms today, I'd say that I was engaged in countering agendas, looking for a neutral point where discussion could be fair, courteous and balanced. To anyone in an agenda, of course, that looks like being against them, the enemy, and it's disturbing just how easily that attracts ire and deeply emotive attacks online. Each person from their I am will have their perspective on that. I can only reflect my experience. What I will say, though, is that it's time to end the fear. That's not quite the entirety of my position, but it's a key component. Agendas are a key source of emotional upheaval, but they're far from being the only ones. Stress, money, relationships, health are all sources of fear, and that is by no means an exhaustive list. Death, failure, lack of purpose, being alone, the list of possible reasons to be afraid goes on. Safety, travel, personal injury, dark alleys, phobias. Anyone attempting to end all fear would have to be an idiot. But should we not try and do our best? And if we are trying to move people away from fear, which of course is going to involve ultimately their own participation and discovery, what are we moving towards? Joy might be a good candidate. In the human realm, I might indeed choose joy as a goal or success or happiness. But we are all aware of a further dimension to our lives, even if our position is that there is no such dimension. We all have a position on the question, why are we here? Or is there life after death? Or are we part of something bigger? I have my own perspective based on my own experience, and I may share that perspective, but there is no Church of Andrew, nor do I see value in framing it as an agenda, heaven forbid, so to speak. From I am, I cherish your right to choose your own perspective. I hope you'll grant me the freedom to let slip my own perspective, which may be of interest to some, of no interest to others. In the context of ending fear, or as I put it, bringing a little more light, a little less fear, into people's lives and the world, I'm naturally going to be discussing a lot of down-to-earth topics such as health, wealth, relationships, and others. It would be a shame if we couldn't discuss those, because our conversations came to an end the moment I shared a perspective that touched on our higher mind or awareness. We generally don't refuse to shop in stores where the owner or staff disagree with our perspective on the nature of reality or life after death. So hopefully you and others might tolerate an old man's reflections based on his experience. I don't do beliefs, but that's my nature. An analytical mind might bias me away from emotions and beliefs, but that, like anything, can be a boon or a hindrance according to context. Being less inclined to fear, in a sense, might be a boon if I'd like to guide people away from fear. It might limit my joy, or it might not. But if a portion of what I share is of interest and relevant, then I'll be glad that you find it so. If you're so inclined, feel free to get in touch. Andrew@amather.com should reach me.